Just weeks out from UFC 322 at Madison Square Garden, the debate over Islam Makhachev's toughest test is heating up. Michael Bisping isn't siding with the majority of pundits who see Islam's grappling overwhelming Jack Della Maddalena. Instead, he's leaning toward the Aussie, pointing to Jack's sharp striking, natural size, and the rock-solid wrestling defense he displayed in his title-winning performance against Belal Muhammad. Bisping isn't alone either. Israel Adesanya has voiced similar confidence, saying he expects Jack to shine in scrambles and possibly disrupt Islam's control in those critical transition moments. Even Team Khabib, while confident in their champion, has been clear that JDM presents the most dangerous stylistic challenge they've faced so far. However, most of the MMA community is still leaning towards Islam to capture the welterweight belt. For example, Islam's former opponent Charles Oliveira believes it will be a quick work for Islam once fight hits the ground. Both guys are on a crazy winning streak. Jack Della has gone on an 18-fight win streak ever since losing his first 2 professional bouts, whereas Islam has been absolutely dominating the lightweight division for the past 3 years. Let's dive into Bisping's breakdown.
Jack Della Maddalena is bigger. He showed that he can stop takedowns. On the feet, there's absolutely no question. Islam has improved with his striking, that's for sure. You can't deny that. Did pretty good on the feet against Dustin Poirier at times. However, that was probably because of the threat of the takedown. But Jack Della Maddalena is on another level. He's probably got the best, cleanest boxing in the UFC. And the footwork that he gets from the boxing is so useful to avoid the takedowns and to stay off the fence. That was crucial against Belal Muhammad, and even when he was pushed up against the fence, he was able to stop the takedowns. Remember, Leon Edwards was able to stop all the takedowns from Kamaru Usman. He couldn't stop the takedowns from Belal Muhammad, and Jack Della Maddalena had no issue whatsoever. It wouldn't surprise me if we see an upset here and Jack Della Maddalena is still the champion at the end of the day.
Just weeks before the UFC decides its next move at featherweight, things are getting wild. Lerone Murphy jumped on John Anik's livestream and called out Alex Volkanovski, saying he should be the next title challenger. He pointed to his highlight reel spinning elbow knockout of Aaron Pico, calling it the most entertaining finish among all the top contenders. The knockout was spectacular, but the debate immediately started. Critics argue that Pico hasn't accomplished anything in the UFC, and that a flashy KO alone doesn't earn you a title shot. Aljamain Sterling, for example, has already collected solid wins in the division, defeated Brian Ortega, and argues that his resume is far stronger than Murphy's. And that's not all. We've got Gene Silva squaring up against Diego Lopez at UFC Noche, plus Yair Rodriguez fresh off a big win, and of course Movsar Evloev, the guy who perhaps deserves the title shot more than anyone in any division, is recovering from an injury and will be ready to enter a training camp in a few weeks. The featherweight division is loaded with names, and the race to see who actually lands Volkanovski next is heating up fast.
And what about the spinning elbow, man? Was that something you saw Carlos Prates throw and you're like, I'm going to do the same thing? Or I assume you probably just saw it coming and you're like, I'm going to try this in the moment.
No, I actually picked up on that from watching tape of him. Just the way he entered and stuff. So I had a few techniques that I was going to use for when he closed the distance fast, and that was one of them. But obviously seeing Carlos Prates do it, it was like I felt like I had a weird feeling that I was going to do it too, and it was like,
wow.
Alexander Volkanovski, what is it going to take to potentially beat this man in 3-4 months?
It's going to take the 4th and 5th gear of Lerone Murphy. It's going to have to take the best version of me. I think I'd approach it differently. I have a different style than the Makhachevs and Topurias. I have a different style, but I think my style will be very effective against him as well. I watched the Diego Lopez fight. I've seen a few things in that fight that I think I could expose.
The kid, Conor McGregor, is seen absolutely going off, and in this latest sparring footage on Twitter, turns out actually to be a 15-year-old Georgian MMA fighter who somehow, some way, managed to get himself into a sparring session with McGregor. And get this, the kid made an appearance in an interview with Georgian outlet Newsmakers and revealed some wild details about how intense it really got. He said that, unlike the other sparring partners that day, Conor went way harder on him, and it wasn't just playful hitting, it was full-on intensity. But even with all that, the young fighter said he was actually happy about the experience, because how many teenagers get to spar with Conor McGregor? Things escalated when he admitted he injured Conor's eye during the session, which apparently triggered Conor's rage and made the sparring even more heated. Naturally, this raised eyebrows back home in Georgia, with fans questioning whether it was okay for McGregor to go that hard on someone so young, and whether he could really keep his emotions in check. Let's dive into the young fighter's interview, translated from Georgian. Conor took down the video he posted on Twitter because many fans were mocking him in the comments, saying he can only spar with kids. The footage he released showed moments of him landing punches on me, backing me up against a fence and landing a straight left. He didn't post the parts where I landed some strong punches on him as well. After the sparring ended, he told me easy, easy, implying he was going easy on me, but I know that wasn't true at all because I could feel his anger in there. He was fired up, swinging shots with big power. He didn't spar with the same intensity with other guys, only with me, because I started hitting hard from the beginning, which clearly angered him. I landed some seriously good punches on him, man, and you can even see in a photo he released later that I injured his eye. I think that's what triggered his anger and made him start going harder. It was a good experience for me. End quote. In a recent interview with Spanish outlet El Chiringuito, UFC lightweight champion Ilia Topuria shared the unsettling experience of running into Conor McGregor, revealing a sharp contrast between the fighter he once admired and the man he encountered in person. While El Matador acknowledged McGregor's family life, including his wife and children, he also expressed concern about the darker energy he felt. He alluded to McGregor's struggles, suggesting that the former champion seems more consumed by issues like alcohol and drugs than the career-driven fighter he once was. Their interaction took place at a UFC event, and Topuria couldn't shake the sense of negativity that surrounded McGregor. He vividly recalled feeling an overwhelming urge to keep his distance. The vibe was so heavy that Ilia swore it felt like McGregor's aura came from hell, an energy he had never felt before. Even though Conor had been a childhood idol, Ilia said the meeting didn't resonate with him at all. The person he had become was far removed from the figure he once looked up to, and it left him feeling disillusioned. I did meet Conor, yes. Look, I'm analyzing people as human beings. I can't really judge him because I don't know him, but when Conor was around, it was impossible to ignore the unsettling feeling. All I could think was, stay away, stay away. There was this palpable bad energy that surrounded him. It was as if his presence carried this darkness, like his aura came straight from hell. I couldn't get away from him fast enough. The vibe was just so negative, something I had never felt before in my life. The Conor I looked up to as a kid, the one I admired, isn't the same anymore. Meeting him didn't mean anything to me. He's changed, and all the admiration I had for him is gone now. What I thought of him back then doesn't even apply to who he is now. He is more focused on drugs and alcohol than his career. That's it from MMA Psycho. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for daily MMA news.